All right, so we're excited to talk to you all today. So to give a quick overview of what we're going to be discussing today, I'm going to give a quick introduction to Charlotte Bilingual Preschool, who we are and what we do, and then give an overview of our Reading Bridge programs, how they were developed and implemented, and then we will discuss the evaluation of the programs and specifically describe the outcomes for children, families, and facilitators that we identified, as well as the strengths and areas for growth of this unique model.
Drew, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are getting a little box over your slides.
Okay. On the top or?
Yes, along the top.
Okay. That usually goes away. I'll hide it. Okay, is that better?
No, show up again.
Now,
Yeah.
now it's
All right.
good. Thank you.
Now we're good. So we'll mix in a few polls and breakout rooms as well. It's going to keep popping up, I think, when different people join. I don't know how to keep it hidden. So some information about who we are at Charlotte Bilingual Preschool. We are a dual language preschool program that we offer in Spanish and English. We offer half days. Every other day is in English or Spanish. We have one Spanish teacher and one English teacher who work together in the classroom. We work with 90% Spanish speaking families, children and families who come from economically marginalized backgrounds. We use the creative curriculum. We take a Reggio Emilia approach and implement aspects of conscious discipline. So our two main areas of focus are dual language development and social emotional development. And then we also take a two-generation approach, which in our minds means that we provide extensive family programming through cafes and workshops that provide opportunities for our families to learn about evidence-based practices, but also to get to know one another, build social capital, and learn from one another throughout the school year. We also offer a Parent Child Plus program, which is a home visiting program for children 16 months to age 3. In the Creciendo Juntos program, or Growing Together program, which is for children birth to 16 months. So it's really for their parents to help develop strong attachment relationships. We have core values of equity and comunidad, which guide all of our work. And one note is just that the team presenting today is somewhat representative of our family community as well. So several members of our team are learning English as a second language. So just as a note to be patient with if we struggle or get hung up on a word or something like that, just to be ready. Okay, so as you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has been and is still a major part of all of our lives. Wanted to quickly talk about how the Summer Reading Bridge and Winter Reading Bridge programs, which we're going to be discussing today, came out of the COVID-19 pandemic. So first, the Summer Reading Bridge program was designed in response to some research that indicated that young children were falling 7 months or more behind because of the shift to remote instruction during the pandemic and all the trauma that was being experienced. In response to that, we really wanted to design something that could provide some support to help our children prepare for either pre-K or kindergarten and be ready to start those years on par with their peers. Later, in last October, we came back in person at Charlotte Bilingual Preschool, and we had many families opt out of in-person preschool for obvious and fair reasons, fair concerns. So we offered a winter reading bridge program that was designed to provide some support for those families that opted out, because we really want those children to still get something, even if it wasn't the full in-person experience. A few high-level notes, which I'm sure you're all are aware of here, but I think it's just important to say, is that our children are incredibly resilient and flexible and gone back and forth and just constantly been adapting, and their resilience is amazing. Our families and teachers have been incredibly dedicated throughout the past year and more, as they always are. But especially in this past year, their dedication is inspiring. And at the preschool, we've done our best to provide options and continue creating community despite the challenging circumstances. All right, so one thing I would like to do, if you all have had some experience with remote preschool or providing remote instruction to preschool students, I would love to get your thoughts on what are some of those challenges related with remote preschool. So to respond to this poll, you can, Jasmine's gonna put information in the chat. You can either go to pollev.com/Andrew Gadaire 593 and be able to enter your response there, or you can text Andrew Gadaire 593 to 22333. And when you text once, you'll join, and then you can text your message how you'd respond. And what this is going to do is create a word cloud. So it's generally best to do one-word answers, or if you have a two-word answer, you can hyphenate it to keep the response together. But I'd love to know, in your opinion, what are the key challenges of remote preschool? Great. I have all kinds of great responses coming in. Technology is an issue for many families. Consistency, participation. I saw a couple mixed in that looked like sitting in front of a computer is hard for preschool students, and that makes sense. Maybe not developmentally appropriate. Attention spans. Time. It's hard to have as much time as you would like. You might be able to provide with in-person preschool. Accommodations. It's hard to accommodate students who have additional challenges. Great. Absolutely. So there are a lot of issues, and I'll be completely honest. When everything started and we shifted to remote instruction, my first thought was, how in the world is that going to work? And I had no idea. But I've definitely learned a lot from the dedication of our teachers and staff and leaders in all this to make it possible. So thank you all for responding to that question. We're going to shift to one more poll. So past thinking of challenges, what are some potential benefits of remote instruction, if any? Are there any potential benefits of remote instruction or preschool? I see a lot of great responses coming in already with flexibility, maybe ability to reach more parents. I saw parents and parental engagement is one common one. Develop bonding relationship. Safety, of course, given the circumstances that have to take safety into account. Can be more relaxed. And it's in a safe home environment as well, hopefully. Yeah, see some big ones are engagement, flexibility, safety, and parents and home absolutely. So there are some potential benefits, even if there are several challenges as well. And for the goals of this program in particular, the goal wasn't to replace in-person preschool, but to provide some of these benefits and support children's literacy development. So I think that's an important point to make. Okay, so to start off, our Summer Reading Bridge program, as I mentioned before, responded to concern that students were falling farther and farther behind as a result of the pandemic and would be starting kindergarten or pre-K farther behind. We utilized the reading checkup tool, which is provided by Read Charlotte, and we're going to talk a little more about that in a second. It built on learning from remote instruction, and it capitalized on some of those opportunities to promote educational engagement at home, because as some of you are mentioning, remote instruction, especially for young children, really only works if it's supported and almost driven by parents. And through our Summer Bridge program, we saw some positive effects. So for our rising preschool students last year, their program was administered in Spanish, and we saw some important gains in Spanish language and literacy between our winter assessments and our fall assessments of this year. So the important things to note here, in the winter, this is right before the pandemic, our students were around the same level, whether they participated in the Summer Bridge or not. And when they came back in the fall, those who participated in the Summer Bridge showed about 17% more competencies than those who did not in Spanish language, and about the same in Spanish literacy. So it seems like there are some benefits for students who participated in the program. So I encouraged us to do the program again, and we also did some evaluation work to try to understand, well, what are the strengths of this type of program, and what are ways that we can improve this program? And what we found was that for these virtual activities to be helpful, activities should be fun and engaging and promote movement, and the structure of the program seemed to help, but it could still be improved. So we used a pre-video, a Zoom class, and follow-up activities, which Mari's going to explain in a second. And yeah, so then we also found a few areas for growth, and as some of you mentioned as challenges of remote instruction is it's difficult to individualize support for students, and that can be based on children's learning and development, but can also be based on children's home environments. So if a family member is able to dedicate more time or not, or there might be technology issues, there's so many challenges that can come up for different students, and it's really hard to individualize those supports as they come up. So one of the things we tried to do with the Winter Bridge program was have smaller groups to allow for more differentiation. And then second, we saw that there are many challenges of the reading checkup tool, and there are ways to make it more user-friendly in Spanish, which we provided a ton of feedback to Read Charlotte, and they did incredible work to make it more user-friendly for our families in particular. So after the Summer Bridge program, we came out with the Winter Reading Bridge program, and it was funded and supported by Read Charlotte and Smart Start in Mecklenburg County. Read Charlotte funded the first 11 weeks, and that's going to be the core of what we talk about now. It's our evaluation of those first 11 weeks. And that lasted from January of this year to mid-March. And then Smart Start funded an extension of the program into June. So this program is actually still in progress, and we're going to discuss several of the results that we detected from that first half of the program. We incorporated the lessons that we learned from the Summer Bridge. And then one important difference was that we hired 4 family engagement specialists from our family community who were trained and supported by Susana, the family programs director, and they implemented the program with children and families. So in addition to providing educational opportunities to our children, the program provided employment and applied experience for 4 mothers working to become preschool teachers in the future. So the goals of the Winter Bridge program were 1, to support early literacy development for the 36 children who participated, to enhance the quality and quantity of educational engagement practices at home, and more specifically, we really wanted to create positive literacy routines and habits that were engaging and fun and educational for our children and for their parents. And then finally, we wanted to support the professional development of our 4 aspiring preschool teachers from the family community. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mari Corona, who is one of our family engagement specialists, and she'll explain a little more about how the Winter Reading Bridge program actually worked.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be talking about the implementation of the Winter Reading Bridge. Okay, the length of the program is 19 weeks. So we have 1 class per week, and we have between 5 to 6 children per class. So we also have a follow-up activity during that week that we send to our families to do at home. We also have pre-videos. So we have 1 pre-video for the parents to be prepared for the class, and we also have another pre-video to show the families how to do the follow-up activity. We also do check-ins calls every Friday to see how the families are doing with the activities, or if they have any concerns that we can help them. We also encourage families to share photos and pictures of the activities that they do in class and in the follow-up activities. All the activities that we provide are from this reading checkup tool that in the next slide I'm going to explain a little bit about the checkup tool. And we really want for the families to have fun and have some activities that are very interactive, very engaging. And it works very well for us to work with that activities. Okay, I'm going to explain a little bit about this reading checkup tool. This website, you have to do a profile for your child, and then it's gonna give you 2 tests. The first one is called word match game, and the second one is letters to meaning. And the issue that we have with this tool, it was that most of our families only speak Spanish and they don't even understand anything. They don't read English. But we try to help them as much as possible, because what we really wanted from this tool is to give us these activities, because after they finish the test, the website will give you these activities to work with your children at home. So the program was created with these activities. We choose some of them and we just put it in a fun way and in an interactive way, so we can create a nice class and a fun class, and the families can work together, because in all our classes, we always want the parent to be working with the children. So this was a very nice website, but it was hard for some of our families to work with this checkup tool.
So to add a little bit to that, I think, so the tool is really interesting, and it's really designed to provide tools for families to provide individualized support for their children based on where they are. Because of language barrier and other reasons, that the tool wasn't quite all that accessible to our families. So what we did was kind of pull the activities from the tool and help translate in the way that they could be implemented at home.
Okay, now we are going to show you a pre-video that this is one of the pre-videos that we send to our families to be prepared for the class, and I hope you will enjoy it.
Let me know if you can't hear it.
Saludos familia, espero que se encuentre muy bien. En esta semana número 9 estaremos hablando sobre las sílabas. Las sílabas son las fonéticas en que se divide una palabra mediante guiones. Es decir, que las sílabas son los sonidos que encontramos al dividir una palabra y esto se pronuncia en un solo golpe de voz. Estas palabras las vamos a dividir con una pequeña rayita que es la que llamamos guiones. Por ejemplo, si tenemos la palabra elefante, vamos a aplaudir por cada sonido diferente que escuchemos. Le, fan, te. Y la vamos a escribir de esta manera. Vamos a separarla con pequeños guiones. Le, fan, te. Elefante tiene 4 sílabas. 1, 2, 3 y 4. Ahora tenemos la palabra tijeras. Vamos a separarla mediante los aplausos. Tijeras. A continuación, le voy a presentar los materiales que debe de traer a la clase y le voy a explicar qué haremos con cada uno. Veamos. Para la clase tiene que traer 2 objetos, los cuales vamos a contar cuántas sílabas tienen cada uno. Y también en sus bolsitas de materiales pueden encontrar esta hoja que deben de traerla a la clase.
Okay, so as you can see in this video, we really want the family to be prepared for the class, and all the materials that you see in the video, they have the same ones. So they are really prepared and they know this is like more like a guide for them to see how are we gonna be doing the activity in the class. Okay, now I'm gonna be talking about the class routine. We always start with a welcome song. By now, the kids already know the song, so everybody unmutes their microphones and we sing together the song. After this song, we start asking them how are they feeling. So we gave them these puppets with emojis. I don't know if you can see it, Mike. So they choose one and they always say how they feel. Most of the times they feel very happy when we start the class, but sometimes some of them are not feeling very well. They feel sad or they feel angry, and we always ask them why they feel that way. We always say to them that we hope that after the activity, they will feel just happy as all their classmates. After that, we start explaining a little bit about the topic and how we're gonna make the activity. And while they are doing the activity, what we do, we read a book. We always try to choose a book that is related to the topic, but if we could not find something that is related to the topic, we always find a book that is very entertaining for the kids. While we are reading, we know that some of the children finish early. So this reading is a way to keep their focus on the class. And it's a very nice way to wait for the other ones that are not finished yet. After that, every children present their work to the group and they explain what they do, how they do it. And we finish with a movement song so they can have some fun and sing and dance. And then we say a goodbye song. We give around 5 minutes to answer some questions or to give some announcements to the families. Okay, now we have an activity for all of you. We want you to find something around you that is that has 3, 4, or 5 syllables. When you find that, if you can show us, we're gonna give you a couple of minutes.
You might have to turn on your video for this part. I'll find one thing. That's 3, 4, or 5 syllables. Nice. So then if we were in a small group, we could go one by one and say, I found a unicorn, right? So if you found
I found tortilla chips.
tortilla chips, good job. Anyone find anything with 5 syllables? It can be in English or Spanish. What is that? Thesis?
Thank you for pronouncing my name right. Lapicero. That's the way I would say it.
All right, well done. Well done, well done. All right, I'll share my screen again.
Okay. Basically, this is the way that we do it in class.
So this, let's jump in. So this chart shows how our facilitators rated children's comfort level and ability to pay attention or focus throughout the first 11 weeks of the program. And what we see here is that for the first 2 weeks, we saw that was a little lower. There were difficulties adjusting and focusing and feeling comfortable with the Zoom classes. But by the third week and on, it was really pretty consistently high that most of our students were able to adjust, felt comfortable participating, were able to pay attention and participate. So I think it really shows the good work of our teachers to make these classes engaging and fun so that children wanted to participate. Marty, if there's anything you want to add to that.
No.
Okay, we'll go to the next one.
Okay, now we're going to show you a follow-up video. So this is a video that we sent to our families as a guide of the follow-up activity. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more after you watch the video.
Hola mamitas, bienvenidas a nuestra actividad de seguimiento de nuestra semana número 9 con nuestro tema las sílabas. En esta actividad de seguimiento lo que haremos es reforzaremos lo que vimos ya en clase, así que lo que vamos a necesitar es hojas blancas, plumones de colores y cinta. Con las hojas blancas haremos unas tarjetas con cosas que nuestros hijos tengan a su alrededor, esto es, si tienen algún muñeco, vamos a poner en nuestras tarjetas muñeco, vamos a poner en nuestras tarjetas silla, mesa. Van a hacer entre usted y su hijo una lista de palabras que vamos a estar separando por sílabas. Así que usted le va a enseñar la tarjeta, van a aplaudirla y luego lo que vamos a hacer es vamos a poner los números en el piso con la cinta para que después que los terminemos de usar los puedan quitar. Entonces, una vez teniendo los números en el piso, el niño podrá brincar la cantidad de sílabas según la palabra tenga. Muchísimas gracias, espero se diviertan mucho y nos vemos la siguiente semana. Hasta luego.
Don't worry, we won't make anyone hop.
Okay, as you can see in this follow-up video, what we really wanted is that the families relate to us. We try to use our own children on the videos, so that way they can see that how is or what to expect if they are doing this at home with their kids. So this is a very nice activity. We try to do activities that are fun, and not only the children will enjoy the activities, but their parents too. Okay, now we have some pictures and videos that the families sent us as an evidence of the activities that they are doing at home, and some of them, so we can see the activities that we do in class. Okay, we have first our friend Camila. She's 3.5 years old, and she's gonna explain to us how the plants grow.
Agua, planta, ajá, flor. Agua, planta, flor. Muy bien, Camila.
Okay. Now we're gonna have our friend Sophia. She's gonna be doing the follow activity of the syllables. She's 3.5 years old too.
Árbol.
Agua.
Muy bien.
And then we have our friend Mateo. He's going to be he's going to find some of the words, some of the letters of his name. So it's very fun to watch.
Aquí está.
Ok.
Es muy heavy.
No, aquí no está.
Oh.
Busque las letras.
Ahí está.
Ok, vaya, póngala. ¿Dónde va esa? Ok. Así, mire, ¿ve? Ven acá. Ok, busque las otras. ¿Qué letra es esa?
La A.
La A, ok. Busque otra.
La L. ¿Dónde?
Busque. Busque.
¿Cuál?
¿Qué letra es esa? ¿La?
A.
No. La E.
La E. Está grande.
Ya, póngala. ¿Dónde está la E? Muy bien, ¿ok? Siga buscando.
La O.
Ya, pero siga buscando, pues tiene que buscarlas.
¿Dónde está la O? El tengo. ¿Dónde va O?
¿Qué letra es?
La O.
Ok. ¿Cuántas faltan?
La M.
¿Y qué más falta? ¿Y la?
T.
Ok, búsquelas. Déjela ahí.
What? Where did he go?
Ah. ¿Qué letra es?
La T.
Ok, venga, póngala. ¿Y cuál falta?
La M.
La M. ¿Dónde estará la M? La M.
Sí, de Mateo.
Ok, ¿y qué dice ahí?
Mateo.
Ok, ¿y qué letras son? ¿Me puedes decir qué letras son? Señale las letras.
La O.
No, por acá empiece.
La M.
Ajá. La A.
La A, la T. La A.
E.
Y la O.
Y ahí dice.
Mateo.
Muy bien.
Okay, and then we have some pictures. One picture is of our friend Theo. He did a self-portrait. And we also have another two friends who are working in their favorite weather. We also have the activity that we did in class about syllables. Okay, I'm gonna be talking about these check-in calls we started with the calls was very, very nice to do at first because we connect with the families. We start having a nice communication with them. And after 4 weeks, we noticed that the families, some of them are very busy in the morning to answer the phones. So we decided to send text messages so they are able to answer the text whenever they have time. And if they have any specific concerns, they just send us a text days before or they just give us a call. For us, it was very, very nice to be able to have these WhatsApp groups because we noticed that the families, they were cheering up not only their children, but like all the group that they are working together. So is like we are building a community in these programs with each class. And we are able to be helping some of the families if they need our help. We have that really good communication with them.
Great, thank you, Marty. So we're going to take a little break and go out into breakout rooms. And in your breakout rooms, I think Jasmine's going to post the questions to the chat as well. But in your breakout rooms, if you could introduce yourself, give your name, your role, and where you work, discuss what pieces of the model, if anything, do you find interesting? And then in your experience, what other strategies have you used to provide effective remote instruction to young children? And are there any ways that you would suggest improving this model? When we come back, we'd love to hear any thoughts you have. So I'll stop sharing. And we'll go to breakout rooms quickly. I think we'll be there for 6 or 7 minutes. So it's pretty short, but a quick little discussion.
All right, everyone should be getting an invitation to join a breakout room.
And I want to keep us moving so I get through the evaluation and kind of the results team, but does anyone have a high level takeaway you wanted to share from your small group discussion? I know we talked about if there are ways to share some of those videos with dual language facilitators or facilitators working with Spanish speaking families. Maybe there's a way to share those tools as well. I didn't really have a good answer, but we'll see. Yeah, Lourdes.
Yeah, the clapping, I have been working for 13 years with as a developmental therapist. And the clapping, I was using the clapping, even, it was not teaching words itself, written words, but the speech was very important for them to understand all the syllabus. And I was using that, but I really enjoy how you were using all these wonderful techniques. I was like, wow, this is great. Yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal. And about, cards, flashcards. And the boy was so excited, to what he was doing. He didn't even notice that he was reading and identifying letters, and he was so excited, and it was really, really good to watch. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think part of that's props to the tool, but also major shout out to our facilitators who put in so much work to make those videos and make them clear and organize those activities so they are implemented at home. So shout out to Marty and the whole team. Like one other high level comment I want to share from a small group, and then we can get back into outcomes. All right, I don't see anyone, so I'll go ahead and share my screen, and feel free to write anything in the comments or anything like that. Okay. All right, well, thank you all for participating in that. Now we're going to go into outcomes from the Winter Reading Bridge program, and these are the primary outcomes that we saw from the first 11 weeks of the program. So we'll have more outcomes coming in the beginning of June. But our methods, so we took a mixed methods approach. First, we conducted reading checkup quizzes with families conducted reading checkup quizzes through the Read Charlotte tool. However, those are only completed at the beginning and midpoint by 13 children. And I had a nice graph that shows, it makes it look like children are improving a lot, but I didn't even want to show that because there are so many other factors that can come into children's scores on that. For instance, there's some that it feels like parents took it for them because they scored at a 10-year-old, said they were reading at a 10-year-old level when they're only 3. There are others who parents described translating it to Spanish so that kids could do it. And there are others that parents didn't help much, but let their child do it, which is probably more the way it was designed to be done. But there's just so much error in those scores that we just didn't feel comfortable using those scores to show growth. But we also conducted surveys with caregivers that were completed at the pre and mid-program time points by 23 parents. Then we conducted semi-structured focus groups with caregivers and also with facilitators. So those groups with caregivers were really designed to understand the impacts they were seeing with their kids, how they were using the activities, what they liked about the program, and how they thought it might have changed their interactions with their children. And the facilitator focus groups asked them kind of those same questions, but also asked how this program, facilitating the program, contributed to their professional development as aspiring teachers. So from that, we're going to start with outcomes for children that we uncovered. So the surveys suggested that we saw some increases in parents' ratings of how much their children enjoyed reading, but also saw increases in how much they enjoyed other literacy activities, and increases in parents' ratings of their children's school readiness skills, and just in those 11 weeks. So we'll get more findings from this at the end of the program as well. Here we, at the midpoint, we asked parents a few different questions, and there were 60% reported that their children were practicing literacy daily, and 88% of the parents reported that the program was helping their child learn Spanish. And notably, that's much higher than the percent who reported that was helping their child learn English. But this was also a potential benefit of the program, and a benefit that many of our parents described in focus groups. So this quote is one example of that from one of our mothers, who said, "These kids have grandparents who don't speak any English, and they can't speak with their grandparents because they don't know Spanish. The rest of our family is in Cuba, so my daughter won't be able to speak with anyone if she doesn't know Spanish." And this was repeated in almost every focus group, where they wanted as much of the focus as possible to be on Spanish. And on top of that, there's also research suggesting that as we develop children's Spanish vocabularies in early childhood and Spanish literacy skills, that as they get to elementary school, that will then translate to their English skills as well. So if anything, we saw this as kind of a strength of the program, that it focused more on Spanish. And I'll turn it over to Jasmine to talk about some of the themes from our focus groups related to children.
Thanks, Drew. Sorry, I kind of froze there for a little bit. So as Drew said, we conducted a number of focus groups with our caregivers. And after everything that we did so far, we compiled a list of common themes that we were seeing that were reoccurring in almost all the focus groups. So these are going to be child focused. So one of the main themes that we found was that children's interest in reading increased. So we were hearing mothers talk about how their children wanted wanted their moms to read to them more often. You know, normally most of the parents would say that they would have regular nighttime reading times, but after they were in the program, children wanted to read during the day or in the morning. So we have multiple quotes that we're going to present to you. And just to let everyone know, the blue quotes are going to be from our caregivers, and the green color, teal color, is going to be from our facilitators, just to make that distinction. So this second quote, we can see it says, she can inspire herself a little bit more that she has a teacher, and there are other kids that are doing it, and that motivates her so much. So we're getting that motivation aspect, the kid is being inspired. And although these children don't have an in-person teacher or they don't have like classmates that they see every day, they're still getting that sense of accountability, like, oh, I'm going to do this because my teacher told me to. I'm going to do this because my classmates are doing it. So that's a really great thing also. And then just to kind of show how great the interest was for reading for children, we have this really great quote that one of our caregivers presented.
De verdad que eso le ha despertado muchísimo el interés en los libros, tanto que estuvimos como terminando el potty training y cada vez que se sentaba en el potty lo que quería era un libro. O sea, me decía como que, bueno, cuéntame una historia mientras estoy aquí sentado. Y
So I really love that quote because I just imagine like this small child, kind of like Mateo, who's absolutely adorable, just sitting on the toilet, reading his little book, like, doing his business. It's kind of like an everyday thing. Like he wants to do that. I just think that's wonderful. So another common theme that we found was that children were developing early literacy skills. So at the beginning, Drew mentioned that one of the main goals of the Winter Reading Bridge program was to support early literacy development for the 36 children who were in the program. And that's exactly what we were seeing. So we saw in the videos earlier, for example, Mateo was recognizing letters. So the second quote kind of has that same theme. I was with the baby and I was repeating the names of the food, and my son heard and said, "Yes, baby, mama is with an M, and so is of my name." And that we learned the other week. There were 2 more classes since, and we learned vowels, and now he remembers by himself. So that really just shows how, this kid is learning his letters, he's learning the sounds of it, and he's learning to apply that to, his everyday life. And that interaction with his little sibling, I think that's also a really great additional, factor in that, where he's able to recognize letters and tell his baby sibling about it. So I really like that. And the next quote kind of shows this example more. And it also brings in a little bit of a different perspective where we can see a parent outcome here as well, which I'll talk about afterwards.
Porque cuando, por ejemplo, le estoy preguntando las vocales que vemos en alguna revista o algunas letras que conoce y él las reconoce y me dice, mami, mira, esta es esta letra, o me dice el nombre de la letra. Uh-huh. Y apenas empezamos la semana pasada a poner junta la M con las vocales y todavía no está ahí, aunque estoy practicando entre la semana, todavía no lo entiende muy bien él eso, pero las letras, reconoce letras y algunos números. Y y pues siempre le hemos leído y a él le gusta mucho que le leamos.
So this quote not only shows that, again, this child is learning their letters, learning vowels, learning to put things together, which is exactly what you want to see, but it also gives you that parent perspective where the parent, this example, it shows how a parent can see the level that their child is at firsthand. So the mother can see how her son can put 2 things together, but she can also recognize and see that he is not quite, he's not quite there yet. She says, he doesn't understand that part too well, but, she's learning to be okay with that. And so that's something that we'll talk a little bit more about later, where parents are literally becoming their children's teacher at home, and they're able to see their child's frustrations as if they were in the classroom. So this allowed parents to learn how to be more patient with their children at home also. So that just really brings in a different perspective there as well. So the last child focused theme that we have found so far is that children were experiencing social emotional benefits. So it wasn't just about learning letters and stuff like that. We were also seeing some improvements in, I'll say this first quote and then I'll talk about it a little bit more. I have seen many positive changes because before I could not leave her anywhere alone. For example, I wanted to leave her in the church classes and it gave her a lot of anxiety because of the separation. Now that she has started with Miss Mary to see her in class every Tuesday, she tells me, I'm a big girl, mama. I have my teacher. My teachers are Miss Mary and Miss Stephanie, and that has helped with her independence. So here we see this child was, struggling with a little bit of anxiety from, children. They are with their parents most of the time when they're younger. So something like church classes is a big thing for them. And so, this parent worked together with the teachers, and together they were able to empower this child to feel more independent. And so that's a really wonderful thing. And then the second quote kind of hits on attention, which is a really big thing for smaller children, to be in class. So this just shows, it's not just about the academic benefits or the literacy benefits, it's about the social emotional benefits as well.
Great, thanks, Jasmine. So then going into outcomes for caregivers, we saw some improved literacy involvement attitudes reported in surveys. So we saw some increases in how much parents enjoy reading. And we also saw some substantial increases in parents' awareness of age level literacy skills, and also their awareness of the readiness skills that their children would need to be prepared for school. And this figure shows how often families engaged in different literacy behaviors. And we saw some mixed results where parents reported looking at reading materials more often and engaging in play activities more often, but they reported telling stories and practicing letters, words, and numbers slightly less often than they did at the beginning. So this will be interesting to see how this changes between now and the end of the program in June. And then finally, parents reported several other benefits of the program, that it helped them support their child's language development, it helped them support their child's social emotional development, and 88% reported that it changed the way they supported their children's education just in those 11 weeks. And with that, I'll turn it over to Danny. I know we're running a little low on time, so let's try to go a little quickly through the last parts.
Thank you, Drew. So on this slide, we will talk about the improvements on reading habits and routines that the kids had with their mothers as well. The first quote, if you guys will follow with me, please, it says, it has helped us to have a little bit more order with reading books with him, like making schedules for reading and following an outline that the teachers give us. So this has helped the mothers help a routine as well to follow with the kids, to follow their education and support them through the process of their learning ability and skills that they're and advices that they're getting from the teachers. In this slide, we'll talk about the creativity and the access to activities that the teachers has given before. Like Miss Mary was saying previously, they try to make education very fun, try to teach the kids that there's other ways, just like with the clapping or jumping to say the syllabus, so they have a better way to learn their words and how to break them properly. I personally love the first quote, which says, it has helped us mothers focus on getting more involved with them in their education, and above all, to focus on researching more about how to be more curious, to look for ideas to teach them in another way, a more creative way, just like crafts, and not only with a pencil and paper. And I think, thankfully, this program, the Bridge program, is actually given that opportunity for the parent and the kids to follow that career, as for the kids to learn better and in a creative way, and not just sit in a room or at home with just a pencil and paper and struggle a little bit more in their learning process. Okay, and for this, the increase of quality and educational involvement. When we first did the program, we wanted it to reach out to the kids who were not going to school so they can still not fall behind due to COVID and still proceed with their successful. And the first quote, if you guys please follow with me, it says, so I told them, look, what is in the picture and what color is this one and so on. This program shows how you can be more detail oriented, and because it's not for you, but it's to create love for reading in your child, which in this time it's difficult that they love to read books more than a screen. And it depends on us. So the mother shows excitement that her kid is actually learning, and they're learning together how to motivate him, how to keep him more detail orientated and follow all the readings that they're able to do and just improve more readings into their daily routine. Okay, and here we will talk about changing the perspectives on the parents' role in literacy. The quote says, I have discovered that I can be a teacher at home and I don't have to leave all the responsibility to the school. I've learned to teach them certain things or guide him. So the mother itself, it's becoming, like a teacher that will reinforce the kid once their Miss Mary or Miss Stephanie follows them with the class. She grows up with the learning process of the child, or he, the caregiver, to a better proposition, and it makes it their house like a better sense of like more connection between the caregiver and the children. If you guys will carefully listen to this quote, this is very important. I personally love it because this mother talks about the reality that we all hold in our households, and it's very nice how she connects it with the program.
Sí, porque antes de la pandemia, por decirlo así, los papás, los que tienen hijos más grandes, o incluso yo que alcancé a ir algunos meses, usted va y deja a su niño en la escuela a la hora que sea, a las 8 de la mañana, y lo recoge a las 12 del día. Y usted como que, entre comillas, o sea, no quiero ser malinterpretada, pero como que se desentiende de sus hijos durante esas 4 horas, ¿sí? Y le da espacio a usted para hacer otra cosa. Pero no te das cuenta realmente qué está aprendiendo tu hijo, qué es lo que le están enseñando. Y si uno no es de esos papás curiosos, entonces ni siquiera le pregunta, porque estamos tan ocupados que ni siquiera le preguntamos, ¿y qué aprendiste? ¿Y qué te dijeron? ¿Y qué te enseñaron? Entonces, en la parte online, creo que uno de los beneficios, si podríamos decirlo así, es que te obliga a estar involucrado, ¿sí? Te obliga a estar involucrado en qué es lo que está aprendiendo tu hijo en el proceso.
So like our mother is saying here, because we have all very busy lives for most of the part, we sometimes get involved with everything that is happening, and we kind of just forget to step in and ask our children, how was school? What did you learn today? Anything excited happening? And it's just because, life is very fast paced. We don't really realize that. And thankfully to the program, as she said, it kind of forces you to be more involved into your children's education, to kind of follow up and help them out. Because before, most of the part, when you have presential classes, you kind of just go take your kid to a class and you leave it there, and that's it. But this time, like, this gives you the opportunity to actually connect with the community, with the teachers, the children's, and make something so much bigger about their education at such an early age, which will be very beneficial to them in the long term.
So another common theme that we found more closely relating to caregivers is the accountability to make time for learning. So just reading off this second quote here from a caregiver, it says, I disconnect from all of my other tasks. It has helped with both of my children to give them their time of day and prepare them for school. As a mother, it requires me to give them that time. So here we're saying that parents are becoming more of their child's their learning process. And the mothers are also, or caregivers are also seeing how their children are grasping concepts more, and again, how their child learns. Okay, and then here we have a quote from a mom, and it basically revolves around the idea of her new role as a teacher and the new abilities that she has.
Siempre había pensado como que yo era como el respaldo de la escuela. Y ahora soy como el principal motor de la escuela. No sé si me puedo dar a entender. O sea, como ahora es como esa parte de, ahora este año puedo decir que yo le enseñé a mi hija a escribir su nombre con su apellido y todo. O sea, yo no sé cuántas veces lo vaya a escribir en la vida, pero me siento bien de decir, yo le enseñé a escribir su nombre. Su nombre como...
As we just heard, this quote is talking about a mother that has taught her daughter how to write her name. And the mother seems to take a great sense of pride in this because she taught her child how to do something that she's going to use for the rest of her life. It's kind of comparable to seeing your child walk for the first time. It's a really memorable experience that you were able to be a part of that experience for them. And another common theme we found was improved parent-child relationships. So this second quote says, "It gives the benefit that I can spend more time with my children, with both of them. The relationship between us is now much stronger because we spend all of our time together. I've been able to learn a lot more about them because I have had to be there. I see their frustrations as if in school, and we come up with ways to resolve them like in school. For me, this has been a big benefit." So now a parent could pick up another role as being a teacher, and they could help with their child's schoolwork. And this can't only help in an academic setting, but it could also help in their household. They can see their frustrations and how they learn more easy. And they could also use this to build or work on behaviors as a family. Okay, and then the last common theme that we found for caregivers is the understanding of child's development. So this says, in the beginning, many parents are worried because their children don't want to focus or look at the tablet, or they don't want to stay seated. And I always tell them, don't worry. If they come and go, if you are there and paying attention, the kids will want to join and sit with you and participate. So please don't force them to participate. Learning has to be fun and relaxed for it to work. And it has worked. Even if it took a few classes, the kids participate now. So as we talked about earlier, one of the goals of the preschool is to make learning entertaining. And to do that, we need to make it fun and relaxed. We're focusing on a young age group here. So we need to kind of cater to their needs to be able to learn and get the full experience that they should need.
Thank you, Yanita. So I'll talk just really quickly about some of the outcomes we saw for FBSs, for our facilitators. I'm going to move quickly just to try to get done and leave some time for questions. But we really saw that our facilitators really appreciated the practical experience that this program provided and allowed them to interact with children and really practice teaching, which went way beyond just taking the EDU 119 course by itself. So it really felt like it added onto that quite a bit. And they also felt like it helped them overcome fears and shyness related to teaching. And I really like the second quote here. It says, "This experience has taken away my fear. I feel like I could teach in person too. And it's helped me learn how to interact with different kids with different personalities." So this facilitator is really describing how before she was uncomfortable and worried and nervous, but through this program, she feels like she could also teach in an in-person setting as well. They also described how it reinforced their passion to work with children and just how much they enjoyed interacting with the kids and helping them learn and helping their families work with them effectively. They really enjoyed that experience. It also helped them develop planning skills, which I think for any teacher developing remote instruction, planning remote instruction programs and creating those videos for preschool students would be very difficult and take a lot of work. And this is definitely one of the challenges for our facilitators as well. But they described that it has forced them to learn important planning skills to be more effective and also to work together to be effective in planning together. So real quickly, some key strengths of the program. We thought the program structure was very helpful with the videos combined with the Zoom classes, followed by a follow-up video giving follow-up activities, and then a two-way line of communication where families could share pictures and videos of their kids completing tasks, which on one hand helped our facilitators understand where kids were and how they were coming along, but on the other hand helped develop community where families could support one another and cheer for one another and share their child's progress with a community, even if it was a virtual community. The small groups were a strength that allowed us to have more direct conversation with students and individualized supports. Another key factor was the relationships that our families developed with our family engagement specialists. And as Maria mentioned, this allowed families to raise concerns or questions that they were having, even if they didn't specifically relate to literacy or the activity, but because they have that relationship, they could share and access support from the facilitator and the broader preschool and resource in the community as needed. It was a point of strength that the program was provided in Spanish. Families also really like dual language reading materials and having access to the high quality activities through the reading checkup tool. A few areas for improvement. In every single focus group, we had families asking for longer or more frequent Zoom classes. This is shown by this quote. I'd like it to be a little more time, even if it's 45 minutes, because sometimes time passes too fast. And she says, it's over. And I say, oh, honey, it's over. If it was an hour, it would be ideal, but even if it's 15 minutes more, it would be a little better. And I think this shows an area for growth, but also shows a sign of success, where this is one of the major concerns we had, that children would be engaged and focused and comfortable participating in a Zoom class. And this shows that they're asking for more. They liked it so much, they're asking for more. So that's one way we can improve, is having another Zoom class in the week. And there are also revisions that we can make to the reading checkup quizzes to make them more appropriate for 3- and 4-year-olds. And several parents suggested adding pictures or visuals to make them more engaging and young child friendly. So I've thought through some next steps of how we integrate these benefits into our education model, because what we've seen is that one thing we know from research is that family engagement in education is incredibly important for children's development and educational progress. So how do we, if this program helped us do that, how do we incorporate those benefits into what we do normally? And a few ideas we've discussed is that this could help us expand access and reach more children by using this remote program, because you don't have to live close to a school to participate in this program. And there are also ways that we might be able to complement in-person programming to promote those benefits of high quality parent engagement in addition to in-person learning for children. To summarize, we felt like the Reading Bridge program can have positive effects on children and families, particularly related to promoting children's interest in reading, promoting positive family engagement and educational involvement at home, and promoting literacy development. We also saw that the program provided a positive professional development experience for our program facilitators, our teachers. And then we think that by building on these strengths and addressing areas for growth, we can adapt the program to support more children and to support children more effectively moving forward. So that's all we have. And I'll stop sharing. We'll love any questions, comments, or ideas that you all have.